Prabhatitya koho kali 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 Prabhatitya koho kali 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 Chitta shuddha koro Chitta shuddha koro Jobatli man Jobatli Jobatli man Jobatli Prabhatitya koho kali kali kali
Unmani is a contemporary teacher, facilitator and mentor for those who long for deep spiritual awakening and to explore how this is grounded in our human lives. Meeting with Unmani is meeting with yourself in the most real and alive way. She has been holding meetings and retreats all over the world since 2003. She meets each person exactly where they are at and in whatever they really are needed at the time, while at the same time holding them in the truths of what they really are beyond it all. This combination and paradox of the personal and impersonal brings so much depth, openness, and healing to people's life. They wake up to who they really are and discover who this is lived and integrated into their daily lives. Meeting in truth is beyond all the words, concepts, philosophies, and religions. There is a simple knowing that knows it all. This knowing is sometimes called Satsang, non-duality, or awakening, but it is truly beyond all words.
And as we sit here in silence, the attention may shift from sensation to sound to thought. It's shifting to the breath, or to whatever is happening. And that attention is free to shift. But you are aware of whatever the attention is on. And you, as this awareness, you don't shift, you don't move. You are absolutely still. So this is, I don't know who it is, in Beatrice's place.
Yeah, Unmani.
Hi.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. My name's Rainer.
Hi.
And my experience during the day is there is one part it is awake, and I'm watching my sleeping. And then a thought comes, this is not possible. It's this or that. So what is sleeping? And yeah, I think it feels like it's all the time there, more or less. And yeah.
The sleeping is all the time? What you mean the
I
watching?
think so. Sleeping is all the time, more or less, there. And sometimes I'm more awake and I watch it. Then
Can you
the what?
describe what you mean by sleeping?
Well, it's yeah, it's a good question. It's like if you have a window and it's clean, you can look at it's clear, and then it's like a milky window. I would say this is the picture is coming. It's like a fog, or yeah. Not so easy to.
Yeah, I get a flavor of it. So you feel like you're not fully present with.
Yes, yeah. I think this is it. Yeah.
Yeah. That maybe you're caught up in thoughts, dreams.
Thoughts, yeah, dreams yeah.
Yeah, and there's a kind of a veil that seems to be like the milky curtain. Yeah, and yet you're aware of it. You're watching it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is not asleep. That's not veiled. That's always present. And this is the paradox.
It's both, but can it be both there?
Yes.
How I'm watching and the sleep is still there.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
So this is the.
Yes. And before, perhaps, when you didn't acknowledge the watching, you were just sleeping and you were fully identified with the one who's in the veil behind the milky glass. But now, as you recognize that you are watching, then you are identifying with that watching, and you're watching this human who's maybe not always in that sleep state. And you may discover that the more you are identifying with that one doesn't care. I mean, I don't mean it in a negative way, it doesn't care, but it literally doesn't have a preference for the experience to be any different. So then there can be this feeling of sleeping, and it's totally welcome to be here because it's not you. You're watching it. And from that watching, you're fully present and awake.
So the question comes, so who is it who is watching this?
You.
You?
You.
Okay. Well.
Who else would it be, right?
It seems so, again, it's so simple in a way.
Yeah.
And I think my mind doesn't like it if it's so simple. So
yeah, of course not. No, it was some complicated thing. Yeah, you are watching this person that is also you, it's all you. There's no one else here. Yeah. But you are watching this person kind of sleepwalking. And in moments where that person is, like, let's say the milky glass is cleared, there may be moments, right? When it's cleared, then that watching and the clarity is kind of in alignment. There's like it, something that like an open channel, and then the experience changes, and then it clouds over again.
Yes.
Okay, but then the thinking says, I would prefer to have this open channel all the time.
It's true.
But this is just the thinking, trying to control the experience. Who you are, your true nature, doesn't care. It doesn't need the experience to be any different. And as long as you are identifying with that and not the experience, then you are awake and present, no matter what. And you may find that the experience changes. Maybe it clears more and more because you're identifying with what is always clear. Then most likely the experience will clear more and more, but you don't need it to clear.
Mhm.
You know, you never need the experience to be any different.
Well, yeah, I hear your words, and fire is
Mm,
getting hot.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Mhm.
In this silence, we may now be in Satsang with Swami Dharma Sumiran. He is a Russian mystic and a realized master of the modern Advaita Vedanta, whose root master is Osho. He regularly holds meetings and seminars, as well as satsangs and retreats in Russia, Ukraine, India, Europe, and other places. Essential elements of his teaching are Zazen practice, elements of Chinese Wushu, Qigong, Vipassana, Jnana Yoga, and self-exploration. Swami Sumiran is a true Jnana yogi who transmits his wisdom teachings in simplicity, humor, and clarity. Sumiran studied nuclear physics and later got his second degree in psychology. He was practicing and training the Chinese Wushu for over 15 years, going deep into the Eastern philosophy and meditation. At 21, Sumiran underwent his first mystical experiences that have drastically changed his whole life and urged him to embark on the path of seeking the truth since then. Between 2000 and 2003, Sumiran spent nearly 18 months traveling across India and Nepal and meeting with enlightened masters and various traditions. On 7th April 2006, that which is called enlightenment in the East happened to Sumiran after 16 years of seeking the truth. Sumiran is an author of several books based on the audio and video records of his satsangs and discourses with diverse seekers of truth and freedom in the present. Nowadays, Sumiran regularly holds meetings and seminars in cities of Russia, Ukraine, India, and Europe. Meetings with Sumiran are held in different formats, as satsangs, conversation, whereby the master enhances disciples' attention and understanding, thus encouraging them to keep up their self-research and quest for the truth.
Each of you have Sadguru, inner master inside of you. When you look in eyes of some master outside, you see same space, same awareness, which you can find inside you. And now try feel it. You can lost feeling of your physical body. It's okay. You can lost feeling of time. It's also okay. But your feeling of present, your awareness must grow.
As I understood you, the path of realization, it is about letting go of the identification with any kind of body, with any kind of separation, which creates separation. And so my question is, what would you say is required, or how does this letting go of separation or the disidentification, how does it take place? Yes.
Окей, как я поняла, когда вы говорили, что путь реализации – это путь освобождения от отождествления со всеми телами и от чувства отделенности. То есть как, могли бы вы пояснить, как происходит вот это вот разотождествление с различными телами перечисленными и отделение от чувства, то есть избавление от чувства отделенности?
Одним из базовых подходов является то, что называют наблюдением или свидетельствованием.
One of the basic forms of approach is seeing, watching.
На первом этапе этой практики, когда вы наблюдаете тело, просто наблюдаете,
The first stage of this practice is you observe your body. You just observe it.
эмоции,
Your emotions,
мысли.
your thoughts.
Но это не просто наблюдение.
But it is not just observation.
Вы учитесь не подавлять,
You learn not to suppress,
не контролировать,
not to control,
не вовлекаться,
not to get involved.
просто наблюдать.
Just watch.
Постепенно возникает чувство дистанцирования от того, что наблюдаете.
Step by step, you start experiencing a feeling that you are distanced from what you observe.
Это возникает как некий процесс смены восприятия.
It is like a process of changing the point of view.
Это сложно объяснить словами.
It is hard to explain in words.
Это нужно проживать в практике.
You need to live through this in practice.
Просто наблюдать.
You need to just observe, watch.
Обычно реакция – это управлять ситуацией, контролировать ситуацию.
A typical reaction is to control the situation, to rule it.
И, как правило, когда мы что-то контролируем, мы контролируем через отождествление.
And normally, when we control something, we do it through identification,
Через какие-то представления,
through our concepts
как должно быть.
of how it should be.
кто мы такие.
who we are.
Поэтому на первом этапе попытку управлять лучше отпустить.
So during the first stage, this attempt to control, you should get rid of it. You should let it go.
Это даст вам чувство невовлеченности и неотождествленности. Это чувство неотождествленности.
It will give you this feeling of unidentification.
Только практика.
Only through practice.
Это нельзя понять теоретически.
You cannot experience this theoretically.
Многие люди хотят, чтобы им все объяснили.
Many people want everything to be explained to them.
Но в духовном аспекте многие вещи невозможно объяснить.
But in the spiritual aspect, most things cannot be explained.
Можно только пригласить человека в практику.
I can only invite a person into practice.
И ответы приходят изнутри.
And the answers come from inside.
Можно поиграть каким образом еще?
There is a way we can play.
Если у вас есть вещь,
If you have something,
допустим, часы,
let's say a watch,
они ваши.
and it's yours.
Когда вы их видите, ваше сознание узнает эту вещь как вашу.
When you look at it, your consciousness understands this thing as something that belongs to you.
Возьмите и подарите эти часы другому человеку.
Take this watch and present it to somebody else.
Это те же самые часы.
It is the same watch,
Но на следующий день вы будете на них смотреть не как на свои.
but next day you will look at it as something that doesn't belong to you.
Это некое отношение в вашем сознании.
So it is just the attitude that you have in your consciousness.
Часы не поменялись.
The watch hasn't changed,
Вы тоже.
and you haven't changed too.
Поменялось отношение между вами и часами.
But the attitude between you and the watch, the relationship between you and the watch has changed.
Также можно подойти к своему телу.
And the same can be experienced towards your body.
Вы осознаете свое тело.
You are aware of your body.
Вы им пользуетесь.
You use it.
И у вас есть мысль, я это тело.
And you have a thought. I am this body.
Это просто мысль.
It is just a thought.
Если вы отбросите эту мысль,
If you get rid of this thought,
тело останется,
the body remains.
сознание останется.
The consciousness is there.
Способность использовать тело для жизни останется.
The ability to use this body in life also stays.
Просто поменяется отношение.
But your attitude changes.
Это даст больше легкости.
It gives you more lightness.
Это не просто философия, это меняет отношение к жизни и отношение ко многим событиям в жизни.
It is not just philosophy. It changes your attitude to life and to many events in life.
Практика – это экспериментирование с этим переживанием.
Practice is experimenting with these experiences.
Попробуйте менять отношения.
Try to change your attitude.
Когда я говорю «вы», я обращаюсь к сознанию.
When I say you, I appeal to your consciousness.
Не к вашему сознанию, а к вам как к сознанию.
Not to your personal consciousness, but to you as the consciousness.
Вы есть сознание.
You are the consciousness.
Нет у вас, у которых есть сознание. Вы есть сознание.
There is no you who has a consciousness. There is
You are consciousness.
you are consciousness.
Then now I talk with consciousness about body. Not with the mind, not with the person, Just with consciousness. Если вы пытаетесь слушать меня как сознание,
And if you are trying to listen to me as consciousness
сейчас,
right now,
это будет сатсанг.
it will be satsang.
Если это слушать от лица индивидуума,
When you listen as an individual person,
вы будете запутаны.
then you will be confused.
Всегда помните, кто вы.
Always remember who you are.
Всегда слушайте из правильного измерения.
Always listen from the right level.
Тогда это имеет очень большой потенциал.
Then it has big potential.
Вам может казаться, что вы персона.
It may seem to you that you are a person.
Это гипноз,
It is hypnosis.
гипноз Вселенной.
It is the hallucination of the universe.
Но вы хотя бы должны понять, поверить, довериться, что вы сознание.
But you should at least try to trust, believe that you are consciousness.
И практика – это ваша попытка разгипнотизировать себя.
And practicing is a way of being unhypnotized,
Не стать сознанием,
not to become consciousness,
не стать Богом,
not to become God,
а вспомнить себя,
but you remember yourself.
снять чары.
You lift the veil, the magic.
Даже когда вы практикуете, практикуйте как сознание.
Even when you're practicing, practice as you are consciousness.
We are now gliding from silence to silence. Parkin is a mystic, philosopher, author, inner scientist, and master of the silent tradition. He integrates the highest awakening teachings of the East and West, like Advaita, Zen, and Christian mysticism, serving the timeless, integral wisdom teaching from the source. Om teaches people to explore the illusory world of the ego and accompanies them on the path of awakening into the depths of their self. He communicates his knowledge of the Absolute in enlightening talks about being, Darshan, through inner work as an author and in lectures.
Meine Frage geht in eine ähnliche Richtung. Sumiran hat gestern mit großer Eindringlichkeit gesprochen über den Astralkörper und über den Kausalkörper. Und er meinte, das sei sehr wesentlich. Und ich muss gestehen, dass ich da vieles nicht verstanden habe. Ich kenne diese Begriffe so von dir auch bisher nicht. Und wollte fragen, ob du da vielleicht eine Brücke schlagen kannst. Habe das so verstanden, dass er mit dem Astralkörper die Seele meint und dass der Kausalkörper etwas mit einer überpersönlichen Erinnerung zu tun hat.
Also, ich verstehe dein Anliegen. Zunächst mal, um zu hören, was er damit meint, müsste ich ihn direkt hören. Das kann ich nicht über deine Interpretation. Du weißt ja, dass ich, oder dass die Schule, die ich leite, sich sehr nah der Schule des vierten Weges fühlt und diese Lehre vertritt. Auch in der Gurdjieffschen Schule wird der Begriff des Astralkörpers benutzt, soweit ich mich entsinne, sogar recht intensiv. Ich selbst habe keinen wirklichen Zugang und Bedarf für diesen Begriff, und wir sollten nicht den Fehler machen, uns von Begriffen ablenken zu lassen. In der Advaita-Lehre gibt es keinen Begriff wie der Kausalkörper, weil das Selbst ist das Selbst, und dass das Selbst kausal ist und damit umfassend und der Ursprung von allem, das ist völlig klar. Das Selbst ist kein Konzept, das irgendjemand erfassen kann, sondern wird durch die radikale Erfahrungslehre, durch den radikalen Erfahrungsweg erfasst, bleibt übrig, wenn alles andere aus deiner Aufmerksamkeit zurückgetreten ist. Also kurz, wenn du die Welt bereit bist zu verlassen. Und das ist ja eigentlich die Anweisung, auch die Anweisung von Ramana, die sich hinter der Frage, wer bin ich, eigentlich verbirgt. Es gibt nur diese Möglichkeit, das, was wir die Welt nennen, zu verlassen. Denn die Welt wird ja durch die Anhaftung an den verschiedenen Körpern, um diesen Begriff nochmal zu verwenden, aufrechterhalten. Also ich habe ja gerade 3 Bücher geschrieben, die im Grunde jetzt die Vollendung in dem nächsten Buch finden werden über die 4. Bewegung. Diese 3 Bewegungen entsprechen im Gesetz der 3 den Körpern des Menschen. Ich vermute, dass Sumiran von 7 gesprochen hat.
Ja, es ging so in die Richtung. Also er hat auch von dem Mentalkörper, dem Emotionalkörper und dem physischen Körper gesprochen und eben von dem Astralkörper und dem Kausalkörper und von dem Absoluten.
In jedem Fall sind diese Konzepte vorübergehend hilfreich für die Orientierung in der großen Ordnung, um sie dann wieder zu verlassen, aufzugeben. Du weißt, ich halte mich an eine, wie ich finde, klarere und auch zeitlosere Begrifflichkeit, wenn ich die 3 großen Körper, die man weiter unterteilen kann, als grobstofflich, feinstofflich und feinststofflich bezeichne. Über diese Dreiheit kann ein Mensch hinaustreten. Um zu dem Urgrund der Welt zu gelangen, der in diesem Moment in dir selbst ist und nur deswegen verschleiert ist, weil dein Bewusstsein in diesen verschiedenen Körpern gefangen ist. Wenn die Anweisung also lautet, die Welt zu verlassen, dann ist das nicht metaphorisch gemeint. Die Gefangenschaft des Bewusstseins in den verschiedenen Körpern des Menschen ist der einzige Grund dafür, dass der Mensch eingeschlafen ist. Man könnte es einfach halten und sagen, der Mensch schläft in der Welt. Die Welt hat Dimensionen. Man könnte von unendlich vielen Dimensionen sprechen. Also die Auffächerung geht immer weiter, immer weiter. Aber eigentlich ist die Welt eben aus dieser Dreiheit geschaffen. Das ist eine der großen Lehren in der ewigen Philosophie. Daran halten wir uns. Daran orientieren wir uns. Darin finden wir eine einfache Ordnung. Diese Bindung, diese Anhaftung ist der einzige Grund für den Schlaf des Menschen. Ist jede Anhaftung an die verschiedenen Körper des Menschen, ist jede Gefangenschaft zu Ende, ist nur mehr freies Bewusstsein und die verschiedenen Körper, nenne sie astral, um wieder nur zu diesem Begriff zu kommen, und die gröberen Körper, all das ist darin, aber hat keine Funktion der Verschleierung des Bewusstseins mehr. Das ist die ganz natürliche Ordnung, die in der großen Lehre erkannt wird, wo alles, was relativ existiert, in dem existiert, was absolut ist, also die Welt in Gott, alle Welten in Gott. Aber die Welten sind nicht mehr Verschleierung von Gott, so wie das in der Masse der Menschen, in fast allen Menschen, muss man sagen, zunächst der Fall ist. Eigentlich brauchst du den Begriff des Astralkörpers nicht. Wenn man mit einer Form des Lehrers ist, dann verwendet diese Form bestimmte Begrifflichkeiten und eine andere Form verwendet andere Begrifflichkeiten, weil sie sich in einem anderen konzeptuellen Rahmen befindet. Und es ist nicht wichtig, sich davon verwirren zu lassen. Am Ende stimmt doch alles überein, wenn es denn wahr ist. Also ganz ehrlich, ich bin nicht deswegen diesem Begriff nicht so zugeneigt, weil dieser Begriff auch von vielen Esoterikern verwendet wurde und eine gewisse den Geschmack einer esoterischen Verbrämung in sich trägt. Deswegen, weil ich innerer Wissenschaftler bin und der heilige Weg ein Weg der Wissenschaft ist, bin ich nicht Freund von den Dingen, die einen Geschmack hinterlassen, der nicht ganz in der Mitte ist. Das nur als Anmerkung.
Ja, ich danke dir. Das hat es für mich nochmal sehr gut geklärt, worum es eigentlich geht. Ja, danke.
Danke dir.
I feel that the essential message that seems to come through this Unmani human is to point to the simplicity of life, to the fact that this essential knowing of our true nature is only ever known in simplicity, in not knowing from our thinking, but acknowledging what we are beyond that, which is ungraspable, and it's not a concept or a belief or an attitude. It's actually so easy that it seems difficult. And that seems to be in a way, the problem for the spiritual seeker, that we're used to complicating and assuming that this awakening is out there one day in the future, and that it's very difficult, or we have to strive and work really hard. And while we are striving and working really hard, we go through a maturing process, which is very important. We have to try and fail until we realize by ourselves that what we were searching for was here all along, was who we really are all along, waiting patiently to be acknowledged consciously. So we come full circle back to where we started, acknowledging that we never left, that this home that we are longing to find, longing to come home to, has been our home all the time, just watching this apparent journey of going somewhere in the future, as if we could arrive at it. And we realize that actually my true nature is always here, always known, but known in a way that we couldn't have imagined, because it's too simple, it's too obvious, so we overlook it in search of something more special or more fancy, more dreamy in some way. And actually our true nature is most ordinary, it's most intimate, because it's you. It's who you are already.
Важно искать ответы самим.
It is important to search for answers ourselves.
Философия духовных учений дает направление.
Philosophy of spiritual teachings gives you a direction.
Но настоящее путешествие происходит внутри каждого человека.
But a true journey is inside every human being.
Цель таких встреч пробудить интерес к внутреннему поиску у тех людей, у которых он еще не начался.
The aim of such meetings is to arouse interest to inner search in the people who haven't started it yet.
И помочь тем, кто уже на пути, более глубоко понимать практику.
And help those who are already on their spiritual path to understand practice deeper.
Мне всегда легче взаимодействовать с людьми в формате вопросов и ответов.
To me, it has always been easier to communicate with people in the form of questions and answers.
Задавая вопрос, человек показывает свои подлинные интересы и то состояние, в котором он находится.
When a person asks a question, they show their true interest and what state they are in.
Это позволяет оказывать ему духовную помощь и поддержку более эффективно.
It allows me to offer spiritual help and support in a more effective way.
На Востоке говорят, что учение рождается во взаимодействии мастера и ученика.
In the East, they say that teaching is born in the interaction between the master and the disciple.
Учение не возникает, если нет вопрошающего.
Teaching doesn't happen if there is no person who asks a question.
И мне было очень приятно разделить пространство вашего поиска и помочь вам в некоторых аспектах вашего пути.
And I very much enjoyed sharing this space of your search and help you in certain aspects of your search and of your path.
Когда в событиях, которые были организованы в этот раз, участвуют несколько духовных мастеров, это позволяет людям, которые в поиске, посмотреть на себя и на свой путь с разных углов зрения.
During such events as this one, when there are more than one spiritual teachers present, it allows people to look at themselves and at their search from different angles, different points of perception.
Это дает более объемное понимание себя и своего пути.
It gives more volume to understanding yourself and your search and your path.
Sometimes it happens to me that I read an experience of a teacher and I can recall the same process. So this happened to me when I heard about Papaji's expression of the teaching. During the first years of his teaching, he was very much in the teaching. And after some years, maybe decades, I remember this sentence of him when he said, the mode changed and I was just sitting in silence with people. There was no more heavy burning impulse actively to do something. So when a meeting like this happens, which I very much appreciate, and there must be some activity also, otherwise this wouldn't happen. Then when it begins, there is actually nothing. There is nothing to say. There is nothing to teach. There is nothing to do. I think Sumiran said the same thing from a different perspective. He said, when there is no question, there is no answer. So if nobody is putting a question, there is no answer, which means that there is no teaching. There's just nothing. There is not the necessity to save the world. You know, this is something that the moralistic mind, which is a kind of substitution for truth within myself, misunderstands. You know, people, you should do something. You should do something to save the world, to save the people. You should do something. But this doing is not a personal thing. It might happen or it might not happen. So the truth is, the world is already saved, has been saved, will be saved. I mean, death is part of this. Those people, those few people who are really interested will ask questions and then they will receive answers. It's that simple. I don't even know what has to be said or what I have to say. But the teaching simply unfolds.
Prabhaditya koho kali kali kali. Prabhaditya koho kali kali kali. Chitta shuddha koro, chitta shuddha koro. Jobatli man, jobatli, jobatli man, jobatli. Prabhaditya koho kali kali kali. Prabhaditya koho kali kali kali. Chitta shuddha koro, chitta shuddha koro. Jobatli man, jobatli, jobatli man, jobatli. Probate tiako kali kali kali. Probate tiako kali kali kali. Jita shitokoro, jita shitokoro, jobatuli man jobatuli, jobatuli man jobatuli.